Welcome back, everybody. This is BNSFRAILNUT doing a layout update for the North Metro Model Railroad Club. It's getting closer to our flea market and open house, which is on November 2nd. But I figured I'd kind of do a little quick update, try to get you a little more current stuff going on here, rather than waiting so long in between the videos. But what we've been up to is at least getting kind of this rosin paper you see here, this red paper here. One of our members has been kind of really going to town as far as giving a rough idea what the landscaping will be. So we'll walk around with the camera, kind of see what it looks like with some of that paper in there. Adds a lot of detail to it. The other thing he's did was he went and painted the backdrops. This is all going to be covered, but just to make it look a little decent for the open house. You can kind of get some depth of where the layout actually is. So coming around in here, first off you can kind of see the aisleway, so you can see where that layout is versus the brown benchwork before. And all in here, he's got the rosin paper stuck in here. This is just hot glued to the road bed. And actually it's pretty darn solid, so it'll catch the engines and go from there. So coming into the Coon Rapids North Star terminal, it's got the elevated walk bridge on it. And then coming into the big lake area, kind of Ramsey, Anoka. This is actually, there's going to be, this specific trestle won't be here, but it's going to be a little bridge area here. And coming up into Becker. I'm sorry, Big Lake, not Becker. But fills in that void, so you can kind of see, looks a lot better. And coming around in, we got into Cambridge on the lower deck. And then kind of a little simulated grade crossing here, so you'd have your street coming through here in Cambridge. And then with some of the buildings in there, you can kind of get a scale of what's going to be done. Obviously, I mean, the tracks are only about 4 or 5 inches difference between the two, but we'll have the kind of the short backdrop here, and then mostly just trees populated throughout to kind of hide the seams on either side. But this area turned out pretty neat. So you got your lower Cambridge line, you got your upper staple sub, and all filling out nice and neat with the. So the head end of the train there is just about to the end of the siding for Cambridge, so it's sitting on the tracks underneath, and that's technically it's the siding. So wherever you see the coal train, that's kind of the Cambridge area siding, and then you got your industry tracks to the left with the tank cars, grain cars, same on another industry track, and then this area for high and wide loads. And then we also have on the upper level here kind of an idea for the Becker area. So you see some land. And this is actually, there's warehouses up in here, so. Moving on here. Kind of getting some rough estimates for a more replicated coal pile here. Still rough. As we've been looking into research, the smokestack for the Becker power plant it's 500 feet tall. So for scale, I mean, that's roughly from here to the ceiling, so it's about 5 feet. I don't know if we'll make them that big, probably kind of downsize them a little bit here, but it's going to have to be pretty big to kind of give it the scale. So so then Becker will get filled in with foam, and then the pile will be in the center here. The 2 power plants will be down there, and then you'll have your conveyors coming over. Unloading building will be right over in here. So then all in here, conveyors and all that fun stuff. So should be pretty neat scene once it's done. The back side of the Cambridge kind of cut off area. And then this track here going up to the right, that is that 2nd Street lead. So that's going to go underneath the business in Becker. And then that comes out right over there to that plate where it hooks onto that wall. And I'll run around there once we get done with St. Cloud again. So Back here to St. Cloud. This is that train kind of sitting on the siding, which ends, I think, right about in there. So that's the siding end. And then the upper level, you got St. Cloud. So now all the track work has been finalized, like I said before. And now they've just updated with the servos. So now everything you can throw remotely with the switches by punching in that 3-digit code. So punch in that code and that will throw the switch for you. And then where this coal train is sitting, that is the St. Cloud cutoff. So if you follow that one, goes over the staple sub right there, and then in the foreground is the Hinckley sub. And so that drops, and then they kind of start to crisscross. And you see the middle track is that St. Cloud cutoff. The upper track is now Staples, and still in the foreground is Hinckley. So that's kind of that area. And then back into St. Cloud. And then the wooden trestle is offline at the moment, obviously. So they've been working on putting some plaster down for the display for this bridge. And kind of the rough mock-ups here. So that again, the plaster cloth is on that chicken wire. So from behind, real thin, real open. On the outside, nice, tough, and sturdy. So that's what's going on there. So the bridges have been removed, and then we'll jut across back over to 2nd Street. So this is that track again. This is the swing bridge here, and then the track is here. So closing the spring bridge, slide it into place. It's now live. The rails are all flush and everything. And then that leads back to the 2nd Street staging yard. So that is just those staging yards for the live trains. Got the mirror down at the end for added depth. And then on the upper level is the Monty sub. So this has just kind of been added on to. One of our members has been doing this as a little side project that he keeps himself busy with. But that's the whole long run is where down there. And then way down where the tracks here ending, down in there, there's going to be a helix beyond my daughter in the rocking chair there. So right down by that pipe work, you'll see helix, and that'll get you between the 2 decks. And then you'll also have access from the main when we get to phase 2 with Northtown. So this on the upper level, like I said again, is the Monticello sub, and then the lower is the 2nd Street staging. So got the lighting on underneath so you can see a little better. So now with 2nd Street done, we'll go back to where the layout was being ripped apart. And then this is where a lot of the paper is down again as well. So this is coming into Rush City. And we have your Rush City in the foreground, like I said before. Staple sub is the 2 double main tracks there. And then you got your St. Cloud cutoff, which is that upper train where the coal train is. And then back here, the Staples overtakes the St. Cloud cutoff for height. And then underneath here. So that has all been filled in with paper. So it gives it some of that kind of the depth on the layout, not just looking at open grid work. And then Hinckley sub going in, the St. Cloud cutoff. Both of those 2 tracks meet at track height right about in there. The guardrails have been put up so the trains don't actually fall off now, but that's the entrance to the staging yards underneath Staples. And those go that full length of the layout down there. And then back up in here, you got the Staples yard's been given some scenery. Still leaving a nice big access hole there for us for now. And all this rosin paper is just more or less a temporary mock-up, just to give the people that are coming to our open house an idea of what we're going for. So it'll all be covered, ripped out, what have you. So it's just something to add a little better variety to it. So Staples Yard's kind of populated with some traffic right now. I'm in the middle of switching the Brainerd paper mill, so I'll show you that when I get over there. But some of the through trains and grain trains and stuff. It is fall, so a lot more grain traffic on the layout. And then you got your staging yards down here, the auto rack and the Milwaukee Road train sitting in here, and then the other staging tracks, which we got the intermodal, like I said, lots of grain, auto rack, another coal. But that's more the unit train staging yards back there. So, and finally, this side really hasn't been done because this is where it's getting the actual real scenery. So a lot of this stuff is open, so we can kind of work on the tougher bench work and stuff. And then here's sitting in the yard, the Brainerd yard, is my train I'm running. I'm going to switch. Basically all these cars, for the most part, are coming down into that business right there. So all that whole train, it's like 20 something cars that got to get switched in and out of there. So I figured before I tackle that, we'll make a quick video. I think I got 3 cars, and I don't see any gondolas on my train, so I don't even know if I'm switching that industry today. So most of the stuff, like I said, going right there. Back to the layout. I'll kind of finish this up quick here. The Saunders-Boylston area, still got those early phases of the scenery. I don't know if we'll go much beyond this for the actual open house, just because if we're gonna stick with what we've done here, there's no need to really rush it. We'll take our time, but we just want to get kind of general ideas of what we'll be going for. Over here, nice tree farm going. So all these trees pretty much will cover like a quarter of this. So there'll be lots of trees up in here. It's going to represent northern Minnesota. You got lots of pine trees up there. So pine trees galore. My girls keep wanting to play with these because it looks like a fun forest to play in. So, but then coming back over to here, nothing really has changed since the last video. Scenery is all kind of the same. So, yeah, as far as the latest on the updates, what kind of overall recap? Just a lot of rosin papers gone down. The north wall of our building with that double level staging over there has kind of been being built up as well. Basically, a lot of the guys have been upgrading a lot of the electronic stuff, and hopefully, if all goes well, we'll be having the gentleman from Tam Valley come down, do a little clinic on our layout, and kind of give us some future kind of insight to what they're coming up with, and to help us out with this layout. So I think they're excited to be here too. We've been in contact with them, so hopefully they'll get on down here and like what we've got set up. And until then, I'll probably throw another video up before we do get to the actual open house. So next couple weeks, keep your eyes peeled, and I'll try to get more updates done as we go. But until then, we'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.